Welcome back, my passive income investors. I like to a deep dive analysis of my $270,000 dividend stock portfolio coming from the Canadian side of the border with a spread of US, Canadian, and even some Bitcoin in here as well, guys, on the asset side of things. So in the clarity of my transparency, we're going to be diving down into my individual brokerage accounts. I'm even going to be updating you guys on my corporate account that I recently filed. So consider hitting that like button and let's kick it off by taking a look at the broader view of the spreadsheet itself. I have not updated this in the last week and a half. I have not concluded my April dividends just yet, which sit over $900. And I have added aggressively one new position that we are going to talk about here. But what I do recommend is you getting yourself one of these spreadsheets because it's going to allow you to see your portfolio value based on sector diversification along with dividend income diversification, because this is how I protect my exposure. And you can get one of these charts that we put together personally from the chartmaster.com here, folks. If you buy one of our primary sheets, you're going to get all of them for the same price of $14.99, no monthly subscription. Or if you're into crypto, we also offer a new crypto tracking spreadsheet. Use coupon code passive income investor for 15% off. But getting right into this, guys, my TF to the S to the A, my tax-free savings account. This is what I call the regular Canadians native tax advantaged account, because native Indians here get 100% tax benefits, whereas for us regular Canadians, if you put any of your money into these tax-free savings account, you make money in perpetuity, 100% tax-free, that you can draw against at any time without it affecting your tax bracket. In my opinion, is just incredible. So I've maxed this sucker to the nines, sitting on a value of $140,000 at the moment here, folks, with about 880 CAD in dividends that have come in the last little while. My Canadian banks sitting at the very top have come back with an utter vengeance. I'm done buying Canadian banks at these levels because I don't know what happened, but the pandemic just led them, most of them, into all-time highs with things like Canadian Imperial Bank. My Northland Power doing great. RioCan, I know it looks like I'm down, but when we get across the spread, I'm actually up substantially on this position because you can only put so much in these accounts a year. TD, my newest bank position that I wish I could continue adding to, but at the recent run-up, I'd rather just let them coast for the time being. Now, on the US side of the border, where I got my MO, my SIN stocks with BTI that have actually been coming back since the recent blow from the fact that the US government wants to start potentially, well, it's kind of a new class action lawsuit to ban menthols, which makes up 30% of MO's income, which is kind of terrifying. I mean, menthols are a huge sale to the tobacco sector, but still debatable. I don't think it's going to go through. It's going to take years of litigation. We will see. I will update moving forward. But Apple, Microsoft, my tech positions, these are the ones that have been primarily driving a lot of the recent growth, in my opinion, and kind of stabilizing the whole portfolio, keeping it on trend with the S&P 500. And then obviously my Southern Company and my Stag being the most recent purchase, which with a lot of luck, I can't believe it's already up 16%. I'd rather pull back. I ain't done buying this one, folks. Taking a look at my regular managed account where I have to pay full capital gains tax. This one's currently worth $32,000, with my Facebook, my other RioCan position in here being up a whopping $4,500. And then my another new addition being TELUS Communications, trying to expand into some telecom here, and over Rogers or on the US side of the border with something like an AT&T or a Verizon. I absolutely love TELUS because it is so much more expanded into 5G. They deal with security, in-home security cameras and things like that. You get obviously like your internet connection, and then even going well beyond that, they deal with telehealth. It's honestly just one of my favorite telecom companies over all the other ones like Bell and Rogers, and it has more of a consistent growth rate, in my opinion. So I'm glad to have picked that one up, using some of those MindMed profits and including some other capital that I've sold throughout the year. Now, my final account being my registered retirement savings plan, I can't really draw against this without getting penalized. However, if I had to draw against it, the option will always be there because this has been caking in some pretty nice dividends as well, being worth $45,958 with my Johnson & Johnson, Kimberly-Clark, LMT, and Pepsi. Over my tax-free savings account, guys, this account gives you special benefits where you can actually not pay withholding tax, which if you're a Canadian, usually buying specific US stocks over the border, you're paying a 15% tax on the dividend income. So I decided to take all my really low yielding kind of consumer stapled brand companies and I shifted them over into my RRSP because all of these yield around 3% or lower. So I'm glad that I pay a zero withholding tax on any of these, and they're all really foundational companies that I don't plan on selling for the rest of my life. These are like ride or die companies that I think do really well in an account like this particularly. So with my final account, before I touch base on my new corporate account, this was the OG, the RBC account. on here, guys, which right now I'm only holding my Canadian stocks in, which are valued at around $14,700, a little bit of income in here from dividends as well, sitting around $600. And we can see this is where I have more TD. I got more BNS because this is where I was picking them up on dips. I hope you guys were, because we can see I'm up almost 30% on TD, over 30% on Bank of Nova Scotia. And then finally, the rest of my RioCan shares. This is why RioCan's the largest position in my portfolio, also being up 42% in this account. Absolutely wonderful stuff. So moving into the final account, the corporate account, 2 months in the making here, folks. That's right. This account started, I think, at the beginning of March, and here we are in May where it's finalized and open. And why did I go through those hoops and hurdles? Well, after sitting down with the accountant, being a self-employed person, he said, here's what your taxes might look like if you don't open a corporation, and here's what they're going to look like if you do open a corporation. So in the corporate tax rate, I will only pay 11% on the first $500,000, including all of my trades, all of my investments. So I can take all this money that I'm making, so long as I don't touch it personally, I can transition it into this corporate investment account with no other further tax implications and have it continue generating money at the lowest tax rate possible. And God, I'm going to do a full breakdown video and a course on this for you guys. And if that's something you'd appreciate, hit the like button and let me know in the comments. But I've transferred over about $23,000 in US dollars into this account. And we can see, guys, I've kind of really core focused this because I actually sold off my entire QQQM position. And keep in mind, for me to do this transition, I was forced to sell them and then buy them back under the corporate name being Passive Income Investor Inc. And what I did, guys, was I just went back into my old ways of falling in love with Tesla, which I picked up 18 shares, and I picked up another 20 shares in Facebook, kind of just repositioning the Facebook position itself, because I had 20 shares originally, and I bought the 20 shares back, including my other brokerage account. I have 40 shares combined of Facebook. And this is where things are going to currently be moving forward, where I'm actually going to try and focus more heavily on growth in this account, because like I said, I can't really touch this money in my personal name without getting tax implications. So I figure if I heavy focus on growth here, and I continue to scale this as my business income, I'll probably get the most benefits moving forward. Whereas if I keep all my dividend stocks in my personal name, those already don't get taxed heavily. And if I try and live off some of that income and use it to pay some of my personal expenses, I will still be in the lowest income tax bracket possible. So this is a really fascinating way of dealing with things up in the Great White North here, folks. And I am prevalently looking forward to the next growth stock I'm going to buy, which I think on my list is going to be Amazon. And my next dividend stock is going to be Hydro One. And I'm not sure how I'm going to position them between these accounts. It's something you're going to have to stick around and follow along for to see some updates. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick clarification and a quick insight into my $270,000 dividend stock portfolio. And this is where we currently sit, guys. And just taking a look, I just haven't adjusted everything fully in here because I also own some Bitcoin. I've also been stacking cash very aggressively lately as I try and rebuild up my emergency fund now that I'm going to be taxed at the minimal bracket. So if I make 10 grand for my emergency fund, I'm only have to pay the government 1,100 moving forward, which makes me feel really great. And I'm going to shuffle some of that emergency fund continually into the Bitcoin as well, which right now is worth about $4,800. I still have to remove QQQM from this list, but again, I just completely transitioned that into the Tesla shares. So my growth position weightings haven't really changed that much. Everything in the position weighting side has been exactly the same. So in light of all this, folks, I pass the question off to you. Is there any questions you have for me? I will answer them in that comment section below. So stay cool, stay awesome, and I look forward to catching you tomorrow.